Having our wishes put into a trust by an ethical and faith-based company meant so much to Denny and I. Personally, our family experienced a situation where we lost a loved one, and nothing was done ahead of time. Nothing was put into a trust, and the loss of this loved one was so tremendous to our family. And then having to face decisions that we didn't want to have to make was very devastating. And so Denny and I knew at that point that we had to do a trust for the security of our children, and that would give us peace, and it would make them feel so much more at ease when the time came that they had to make decisions.
As a husband and a father, I feel it's really important to take care of your family. And when we knew that we'd gone quite a few years through life without having a trust, then it became important. The idea that we could put the savings that we have, any assets, into a trust, and it makes it a lot easier to for the people that are left behind. When my parents died, we lived in California, and it's a probate state. So to not have a trust and not have the trust funded, it becomes quite a problem as far as the state getting involved with it, and also the amount of estate taxes that you pay to the federal government that you would normally like to either give to the church or leave for your family. And because we feel it is a responsibility to help our grandchildren and children go through college, this money would be better spent on education, we felt, and we could help them out in that area. Back in the year 2000, my parents both passed away in the same year, and they had a trust. The trust was funded so that all of their assets were in it. There was no probate that had to be settled. Everything was taken care of very promptly. My brother was the executor of the trust, and it made it a lot easier for him to deal with any of the problems. There was no probate, so there was very little expenses compared to the fact if there was no trust. Also, a lot of things that my brother would have had to handle, or myself, were taken care of because the trust was done very professionally. And we appreciated the fact that this was settled, and we had no problems with it whatsoever. From our very first meeting with Gene, we had a very good experience getting the information, learning more about trust, more about advance directives, medical power of attorneys. When we went to Ameristate in California, we had the option of them coming to our home, or we could go up to their office. Rich Brown was just super. He explained so many things. We were looking for an AB type trust, and he explained the difference between an A trust, an AB, an ABC trust, and all of that information helped me out as I wanted to make sure that we were able to have the assets put into a right type of trust. We felt everybody that we dealt with was just great. They were informative. The attorneys, I did a lot of the information by phone, a lot of the information we did at their office, but we also had the option, if we wanted them to come to our home, that we could get the information and sign the papers there. So it was one of the best experiences I've had dealing with any type of contract. We really appreciate it.
In life, we sometimes wait and put things off, and sometimes it's too late. So I would recommend to everyone that this is something you can't put off. We never know when the time comes that we are going to leave this world, and I feel like the greatest gift, again, is that you can pass on to your children, is the gift of knowing that your wishes have been taken care of.
That's good. Can you say that just one more time so we got it? That was beautiful.
Okay. Okay. Oh, how did I start off?
The greatest gift.
Oh, okay. The greatest gift you can give to your children when you pass on is that, no, I didn't say it the way I did before. Oh, in this life, we sometimes wait till it's too late to do things. And this is one thing that you can't wait. This is something that needs to be taken care of, and it needs to be taken care of before any decisions have to be made about medical and etc. I think the greatest gift you can pass on to your children is the gift of peace, knowing that they don't have to make decisions at such a difficult time, and that our wishes have been taken care of.
As Christians, we know the importance of being a good steward of what God's given us, and in having things put into order and making sure that what God's given us, that we have taken care of, whether we're here or we've gone on home to be with the Lord, that it's still taken care of, to us was a big deal, because there's a high percentage of people that die and never get a will, and things are just left really in chaos for the people who are remaining to take care of it. And so we really felt, as a stewardship issue too, that it was the responsible thing for us to do, to be sure that we had everything taken care of and well taken care of.
The reason that we decided to do a trust was several different reasons. First one was make sure that our kids were taken care of. We were getting ready to go on our 20th wedding anniversary, so we wanted to make sure that everything was set as far as the will and all of those kind of things. Who was going to take care of them, be their guardians. So, because we were traveling together, and if something unforeseen or tragic should have happened to both of us, then that way they would be taken care of. So, and we liked the fact that everything was all together. So if something should happen to one of us at separate times, there's the power of attorneys in there, living wills in there, in case one of us should get sick or something like that too, so the other one can take care of that. I like the fact that you don't have to go through probate, so the executor of the trust can take care of everything that the kids need if they're still underage, if something should happen to both of us. So that was good. Our grandparents, my grandparents on my dad's side of the family passed away, and it was like a year-long process to get the estate settled, stock sold, property sold, and that kind of thing. So it was over a year before any of the family saw any of the inheritance. So.
And one of the great things about the process was that when there was an attorney that called us to get all of our information, he was very thorough in asking everything that we needed to know. And all the information that they needed. And after we had given them all the information, and they had gotten everything put together and had it sent to us, we wanted to make a quick change before we were going to leave and go on a trip. And so they did made the changes and overnighted the page that had the things that we wanted to change on it, and got it to us within 3 days before we left. So it just gave us great peace of mind to know that it was all taken care of and in order before we left. One of the great things about the process was that in the middle of it, the attorney called us and asked us a bunch of questions pertaining to our wishes and desires, and got all that set up with us, which he was very thorough.
The delivery was great. Yeah. It was just nice and easy.
To the house.
Yeah. So the gentleman that came out, Lynn Clapp, he did a great job, explained a lot of things to us, was able to answer some questions that we had, and just as far as, do you even remember the questions that we had for him? The other thing I liked too was the fact that they stay with you for a year, as part of the trust. If there are any changes or anything that you need to have made within that year's time frame, that's taken care of too. So I thought that was just a nice added bonus to be able to do that. So
After we got the trust put in place, the deed from the house was transferred over to the trust, and so the papers were just automatically sent to us. We signed off on them, and the house and other assets that we had that were put into the trust, and it was just a very simple, straightforward process, nothing tricky or complicated to it. So,
as far as probate and my grandparents' estate after my grandmother passed away. It took about a year for everything to go through probate because my grandfather had a lot of stocks, he had properties, he had rental properties, and so that whole process took a long time. On top of the fact that my dad had already passed away prior, so my grandparents' only living child was my aunt, who also had health issues herself, and so some of that time she was in the hospital, and so if she had to deal with something with probate or had a court date or something like that and couldn't go to it because she was in the hospital, you know, that just extended the whole process. And so with having the trust and just having the executor to be able to take care of that just seemed like the only way to go. You know, the other thing that I was looking at was the cost, because you know we have to be able to, as part of the estate and probate, you know, you have to be able to look at everything and see what things cost and those kind of things. And so when I saw the attorney's fees and the limited amount of work that he had done, you know, it was just like, for all the probate work, just seemed ridiculous to me. And so I thought, hey, there's another plus where we can really, you know, save a lot of money and put it to good use. Our kids could use it. We could give it if we wanted to, or have it given someplace. So it's just another way to save our resources.
My parents were elderly at the time and really were very naive about wills and trusts and probate. And my husband and I had taken out a trust and talked with them about the advantages of it and no probate. They, in the process, decided that was what they needed to do. So they went ahead and had a trust drawn up, and it was a wonderful experience for them. They had great peace of mind with that. And at their passing, it made a huge difference in my stress level. So I'm convinced it saved all of us a lot of heartache and headache. My husband and I had a trust drawn up prior to a move, and was not happy with the trust once we moved and decided we needed to make a change. So we contacted your company, and very, very smoothly, very easily, with no problems, and very quickly had a trust in place. After 3 years, my husband passed away, and I was very, very relieved that I had that trust. It took all stress from me. I knew everything was in place. I knew my grandchildren were going to be well taken care of, my children. It gave me great peace of mind about my future and about my children's future. I wouldn't do it any other way. It was the best thing that we did. I'm so happy that this was in place when my husband passed away. It was an excellent, excellent plan. The process that we went through to draw the trust up was very simple and very speedy. We talked with the attorney, and within a matter of a few days, the papers were in process of being written up. Everything went just as planned. I now am reviewing the trust again and making a small change to it, and it's as simple as my making a phone call. So that is a great relief to me, very easy. The gentleman that delivered the trust to us took a great amount of time. We sat at the kitchen table, we had a cup of coffee, and he reviewed everything that we had gone through in the trust and all the things that we had decided we needed to add and subtract. They were all very well explained to us. Through the process, we actually became friends with him. So this was a great experience for my husband and I.
Well, my name is Terry Zimmerman, and I guess my story begins with my wife and I obtaining a will, actually about 25 years ago now, and not really at that time familiar with what trusts were. Then I and my wife and my two youngest children left to serve on the mission field in Brazil back in the late 90s. And during our living in Brazil, my dad passed away, and we went through the probate process with his estate. And then in recent years, my wife became ill, and because of her illness, we had to return to the States. And shortly after our return from Brazil, my wife's mother passed away. And once again, we had to get involved in the probate process for my mother-in-law's estate. And shortly thereafter, my wife passed away. And because of her mother's estate still not being settled at the time of my wife's death, getting my mother-in-law's estate and now my wife's estate settled became a very, very difficult process at a time in my life where it wasn't really things that I wanted to deal with. And it was during that time that through Jean, I became aware of trusts and the difference that they were between probating a will, and I recognized that I didn't want my children at the time of my passing to have to go through the probate process. I really wanted them not to have those decisions to make, but that my estate could be passed quickly and without a lot of difficulty as far as the legal process was concerned. And so I found Gene to be very helpful and those that work with him. And I just have a lot of peace today knowing that my estate has already, the details of that have already been decided in my trust. My children are aware of those details and know that they're not going to be forced to make difficult decisions whenever the Lord takes me home. The process was really very easy. You know, there wasn't any pressure with it, but it gave me time to think about those decisions and how they would impact my children at the time of my passing. And it allows me the flexibility, you know, before my passing to make changes at any time that I would want to. And so I'm just very grateful for that, knowing that things are in order, and yet if my circumstances change, that I can make changes within the trust to address those concerns at the time. Just some of the difficult things that families go through when there isn't a will, or that the wills have not been kept current and up to date. I've just seen a lot of the agonizing that families go through when things haven't been well planned. And I think it's important for us as believers in the church to be wise stewards in the resources and that God has given us. And the trust, I think, are a responsible way of being good stewards, wise stewards of the blessings that God has shared into our lives. You know, God blesses us with the intention that we will bless others. And I just think the trusts really give you that tool in order to really express ourselves as believers to the needs and the cries of the needs around the world in a very, very effective manner.
We got married, it'll be 43 years in September. And 42 years ago, we had our daughter, and then 2 years later, our son. And I think it was after our son was born, we had a simple will made out that we've had for all these years. And I know many times we had thought of, because we gather assets after you've been married for that long, and we thought of having something else, something a little more substantial than just a simple will. But it's one of those things that you just keep putting off and you never get around to. In the last few years, a number of times Joanna said to me that, she wants to have an inheritance to leave to our children. Neither of our parents were in a position to leave us anything. And I'll let her.
And they didn't make the arrangements that we really needed to feel comfortable with what they had done. So this is great. I feel really good about it. I really feel like we've been and acted responsibly about everything that we do own, and things that are important to us, to be able to leave them to our children and for them to be able to enjoy them quickly, easily, and without agencies, red tape, or people taking a part of what rightfully is theirs that we've earned and spent, years accumulating, and now it's secure. I feel like it's secure for them, and I just have a heart to leave that inheritance to my children. It's really, really important to me, so that they know that it's there, and I know that they're going to get it. I think that it's important that God blesses us so abundantly, and as we've been faithful in all that He's given us, that it's important that we follow through with that and make sure that the blessings that have come our way also go further on to our families or back to our churches or wherever we desire that they go. Well, I think there's a responsibility that as a Christian, as a part of a community, I think that that's really, really important, that you have access to the information that is being made available through these seminars. And I think that once you've got the information, you can make your decisions and your choices from there. I think they're important